Okay. So now we will discuss about another forms of IP, that is trademark. Okay. So so these are that say 3 forms of IP we already discussed. Now in this module itself I have clubbed another forms of intellectual property or industrial property, whatever you think, that is called trademark. Okay. So I will this about the trademark also I will teach you about its basics, then a little bit, let's say that now brand management or branding components, as you are technical or engineering graduates, and sometime called brand valuation, that will come up in the form of IP portfolio management or within the purview of that when we discussed the last component part. Okay. But mostly I will deal with the trademark, its basic features or basic elements of the trademark, its registration procedure, or role of trademark in respect of internet, and that certification mark, collective marks and its utility, all those things in respect of trademark. So let us start with the reference to the word, let us say trademark itself. So I will try to cover that trademark and its importance, trademark registration procedure, international registration of trademark, although not so important, I will just touch it. So now trademark and internet components is very much essential for your technical graduates. So that part also will discussed in the purview of trademark itself. Okay. So trademark and its importance, let us come. So it's understood. I have maybe copied it from different sources. So what are those? A word, 2 letters, simply GM. Okay. Hilton, or this is a logo. This is a logo. What it's signifying? I am telling these are trademark. You also tell me definitely, as a even class 3, 4 level students also can tell that this is a trademark, because trademark now become a dictionary word. So English dictionary also try to define the trademark. So mark. So layman understanding, then what you are getting, the mark for trade. Okay, mark for trading. So the mark people are using for trading purposes, those things you are telling that as a trademark on the layman's perspective. So mark used in the purview of trade. Why the mark have been used in the purview of trade? What will be the problem if those marks were not there? Can you guess? Okay, just like say there is no mark available on the chair, and the chair with mark available. What is the what way, what it differentiate? The same chair, some chair mark is there, some chair mark is not there, no mark is available. If you try to search it out, no mark is available. What mark signifying? Mark signifying that chair have been just like say chair has, the chair who is marketing that chair or who is producing that chair, and just like the where from, this is Godrej mark is there. So automatically understanding that Godrej is say marketing those chair or selling those chairs. So Godrej is, let's say, is selling those chairs. Some cases it was made by somebody, marketed by, some cases made just like a medical product for statutory requirement. Some cases you have to mention that made by, then marketed by, like this way. So the chair, if Godrej remains, then it will automatically mention that the chair has been coming from the Godrej. Okay, Godrej. So that way that Godrej. So then let's say another chair is there, they are mentioned cello. So then it is that the cello is selling that chair. Okay. So that 2 chairs you will distinguishing that who is the, where from which source the chair has been coming. One is the from Godrej company, one is coming from the cello company. 2 company is selling that chair. Maybe chair technically or functionally same, but just like other forms of IP, we are not considering with reference to those chairs, but we are considering from which source that chair have been coming. So, there lies the role of trademark. Okay. What? See, if no trademark is available, then already referred when we discussed about the theory of intellectual property rights, there is a term called search cost, there is a term called in trademark context or economical context called transaction cost. Okay, search cost and transaction cost. What do you mean by transaction cost? Cost involved for transaction of a single unit of good. Okay. So, a single unit of good for transaction, transaction means transaction happen by means of let us say sale. The mode of transaction is sale. So, transaction involved the cost involved in transaction means a sale 1 unit of goods, this is transaction cost. So, now the search cost and transaction cost. Okay. Just like say there is no label or logo in the chair and you want to procure the chairs. So, how will you procure? Okay. There is no label and logo, how will you procure? Then you have to think about that which different ways you can procure. Okay. You have to go to that particular showroom, then look and you have to see the chairs, look and feel of the chairs, and by virtue of that you have to make later on you may ask about somebody who has gone to that shop, who has procured those chairs, that like that called sometimes called experienced goods. Somebody has experienced all those goods, then you can take the view of that experienced people with reference to those goods. Okay. So, it will ultimately enhance that say by virtue of that say transaction cost involve the time and money, let us say time and money. So, by virtue of that money means the sale the sale price of that chair is not increasing, but if you try to involve that time for procurement have been increasing. So, that by virtue of that time for procurement as increasing, that lead to increase of transaction cost. Why time for procurement increasing? Because of the time is that involved in respect of search. Okay. So, if there is no trademark, then your transaction cost will increase because of the increase of search cost. Okay. As search cost will increase, by virtue of that transaction cost will also increased. Okay. So, the trademark signifies that it will try to reduce the transaction cost, by virtue of that it will try to make the market efficiency. Then what is the benefit of the trademark owner? Yeah, definitely the trademark owners, just like say consider Godrej, the trademark Darjeeling tea, the trademark owner Hilton or Apple, the trademark owners benefit lies on that okay, trademark owners, if now the transaction cost are reduced, then their sale sale also people will be sale also increased. And if government try to state give some sorts of protection for that mark, then they will be more attracted for to provide quality chairs, like you got quality chairs. So, somebody use their Godrej mark and that state does not give protection for that person try to try to use their logo in their chairs. So, then that lead to the somehow loss of revenue for the actual owners. So, that way if state gives some sorts of protection with reference to the use of actual owner's trademark by second person, then he will be more attracted for that. And another way, The why states should give protection? Because consumer, if you have to think about the consumers, the societal part, the societal member of the societies are the consumer, and consumer, if say Godrej chairs by Godrej, by company A also using the word Godrej, then maybe the whatever way the quality Godrej was providing, the company A, when they are using the Godrej logo, they are not just like making that quality, they try to climb on the brand of Godrej. So, people will be getting second hand quality or second quality good, or that lead to that just like say consumer will not be satisfied. Okay. So, that lead to that imperfect market, and consumer will be deprived of the quality goods. So, that way now if I say tell you that trademark somehow try to promote market efficiency, is it agreeable to you? I think you may analyze that word trademark, and trademark try to protect the interest of the consumer. Yes, because consumer is getting a quality goods by virtue of actual trademark owners trademark. Okay. So, so definitely trademark is important in respect of economy, and because in respect of market economy specifically. Okay. So, if you virtue of that, if you read our Trademark Act, so that way that preamble suggested or objective of the act suggested to give protection of the trademark and for protection of the consumer. So, that way that to give better protection of the trademark for the trademark owner, by virtue of that they are protecting the interest of the consumer. So, that way try to make a balance between the say interest of per se consumer and owners, by if the owner's interest also meet, by virtue of the consumer interest also meet, because owner will be more attracted to provide a quality product because of that statutory protection, and consumer also will be happy or purchaser also will be happy because they will get a quality product or unchanged quality product. Okay. So, trademark by significance of trademark, Godrej means all Godrej bearing chairs will have unchanged quality. Godrej bearing chairs will have unchanged quality. So, wherever you go from IIT Kharagpur to go to the NIT or go to Kashmir, if you see the Godrej chair, all the Godrej chairs should have unchanged quality. So, trademark signifies the unchanged quality. If the real trademark owners, if the pirated goods are available, they are using that type of thing, there you may not get the unchanged quality. So, trademark. So, quality part. So, definitely, so we try to mention the function of trademark. If I ask function of trademark, so I will say that it reduces the search cost. Okay. So, it provide quality product, quality product. So, okay. So, by virtue of that, say we can consider that by means enhancing search cost, providing quality product. So, definitely it try to be an important role in the market or trade perspective. Okay. So, it provided advertising image, it provide shorten the procurement time of the public. So, there you cannot deny the role of trademark. Okay. So, this is an important forms of industrial property. Although no much creativity involved, but creativity involved in the form of designing of the logo, whatever logo you are designing in respect of and using that logo as a trademark, there are some sorts of creativities or creation of minds involved. Otherwise, this is somehow we can consider the industrial property that Paris Convention suggested. Okay. So, these are the basics, or if I say that a little bit economics of the trademark, you can really deals with that. Okay. That one major function is the source identification function. So, if I consider trademark function specifically, the functions of trademark. Okay, let us consider functions of trademark. Functions of trademark. TM, let us say, can you tell what is the functions of the trademark? I will put that the source identification function, source identification function, and also quality. That logo of that institute or SBI is also providing the source, just like say, and that also automatically providing that that quality. Okay, so trademark having the two functions, dual function, source identification and quality indication function. One is identifications, another is indication. Okay, this is the major function. So, how will you represent your goods in the market? There lies the role of trademark. Okay. So, now let us go to the a little bit on the intricacies of the trademark. Okay. So, trademark, just like say, I am not going to the legal definitions. Trademark in layman's language is a mark which may be a word, signature, name, device, label, numeral, combination of color used by one undertaking on goods or services or other article of trade to distinguish it from similar goods or services originating from a defined undertaking. So, just like a chair I referred, chair, cello, Godrej, similarly televisions or mobile industry now consider how many players are there in the market, Samsung, Apple, Nokia, all those kinds of players. So, that indicating that particular things. So, what way that label, logo or name is indicating that distinguishing that same goods from one undertaking to the other undertaking, mobile from Nokia, mobile for Samsung, mobile from Apple. So, it is distinguishing for same or similar goods from different undertaking, So, if you go to the legal definition, the trademark as per section 2ZB of Trademark Act 99, the trademark just like they are defining that trademark means the mark used in the course of trade. So, if I now analyze that mark used where in the course of trade, mark used where, another feature, course of trade. So, mark should be used in the course of trade. For what the marks will be used? Marks will be used in the course of trade for distinguishing, DINGUI, distinguishing what? Goods or services of what? From of one undertaking from others, from one to others, from one undertaking to the others. Okay. So, now you got the legal definition of the trademark. So, mark used in the course of trade. For now, I will not go in details regarding that, because there is a lot of legal interpretation. What do you mean by course of trade? We do not have enough time to discuss on intricacies, but let us say course of trade, you may consider the just like from manufacturing to preparation to the market, and when it will reach the hand of the customer, then you can consider one course of trade have been completed. Now, for second hand goods, similarly another course of trade may charge for second hand goods. So, course of trade means manufacturing, preparation for advertising, preparation for the markets, promotion, sale. So, all those kinds of elements may come within the purview of course of trade. Distinguishing goods or services, the goods are understanding goods which are in the course of trade, just like say let us say chair, table, everything will be the goods. Services means like a banking service, educational service, insurance are the services, insurance are the services, that also they can also use the trademark. One undertaking just like a banking service, you know, SBI, United Bank, like this way. Educational institutes also, you know, the different MITs. Okay. So, mark. Now, come to intricacies on the mark. Okay. So, mark, what can be a mark? So, already referred the word, signature, name, device, label. Okay. So, mark, say that in that case mark, so can be a word, can be letter, combination of letters, word, letters, maybe name. I will not go in details regarding that. Maybe surname, surname. So, their name includes in name part. I can again differentiate different way. The product name, personal name, product name, personal name. You may personal name, then surname. Okay. So, like this way, word, word, letters, just like say LG, 2 letters is a trademark. Word, apple is a trademark. Okay. So, now word, label, signature, name, name can be personal name as a trademark. Can you give example? Similarly, surname as a trademark, use number of examples. Cadbury is also, you know, that's Cadbury is also surname. Xerox per se is a name of a person. Okay, Xerox is the name of a person. Cadbury is a surname. Haldiram, a good brand in India. So, this is also a surname. So, now the surname can be also trademark. Then device, particular device means a device just like hammer or any kinds of thing can be used just like a Mugurcha Pajanta Hawaii. So, that way the device can be also trademark. Numeral 555 is a good trademark. Combination of colors just like say petrol pump, if you see that Reliance, different color combinations. Then Bharat Petroleum, different color combinations. Okay, color, singular color may not, but color combination may be qualified as a trademark, as a mark. So, mark includes word, letter, symbol, device, logos, all sorts of things. And the Indian law suggested marks should be represented graphically, means marks should be so that marks should be applied, so that marks should be applied to any goods, and means that the marks should be visible in the visible to the customers. So, for that reason they put graphical representation, but that marks should be represented in a graphical or in a papered forms, in a papered form. So, otherwise the marks graphical representation is one of the requirement for a trademark, specifically in Indian part. Okay. So, the function of the modern I already referred. It identifies goods or services and its origin. It guarantees unchanged quality, because I referred already. It advertises the goods. So, good, how will you advertise? By virtue of that your trademark. It creates an image for the goods. Trademarks only create the image of the good, but otherwise how will you whether you will go for say testing in a laboratories for the components, that is different part, just like recent days about the Maggi and other components you understood in Nestle product. So, that is the second part, but already you know that they have done a huge market. So, create an image with the Nestle, then by virtue of that it creates branding. Okay, just like say branding, you consider just like a particular companies have a particular trademark is a huge brand for that. So, that create a branding. Branding is an important parameters nowadays. Okay. So, that like this way to protect public from fraud, to minimize purchasing time. Okay. This is the part. Now, different types of marks, devices. So, now one important parameters I should discussed as you are technical graduate. So, the different types of word marks are there. Okay. Just like say the word can be invented word. Let us say invented word. What do you mean by invented word? That there is that word does not have any meaning. Okay. That word does not have any meaning. Okay. then what may be coined word, means that two words somehow you are mixing and omitting some word. So, word may be a coined word. Okay. So, then word may be a generic word also, or descriptive word, let us say descriptive word. Okay. So, considering that if I consider strength, we can improve in y axis strength, strength in y axis, and different types of mark in x axis, different mark in y axis, x axis. So, considering the market penetration, they suggested that invented word having that higher strength, strength if you consider higher strength compared to the coined word, then descriptive word, then come the generic word, So, understood that if I make a gradient like this way, so the strength decreases if when the word is tending toward generic word, descriptive word, this is generic word, okay, generic word. So, okay. So, now what will be the prudent way to select a good trademark? So, definitely you will say that for day 1 should be invented word. Just like say consider Apple for computer business, we consider this is an arbitrary word, because Apple does not have any relationship with reference to the computers, but Apple for apple juice may consider descriptive or generic word, or apple juice related product, if you use the apple as a trademark, that may consider as a generic word or descriptive word. So, initially you may not get a good market segment or market penetration, because people definitely will thought about that descriptive attributes of that mark, descriptive attributes that is providing with associated with their goods. So, that way those select a good trademark, it should be easy to speak, easy to spell, that type of things, easy to remember, this type of things maybe will be considered to be a good trademark. Good trademarks means that day 1 it should have enough strength, good on day 1 it should able to penetrate the market with higher capacity. So, that will be considered as a say good trademark and higher strength. So, another part I forgot to mention, let us discuss here a little bit. So, that India, say just like there is also mark in the form of a smell, in the form of a hologram, in the form of a touch, in the form of a sound. Okay. So, just like say for a mark to be registrable, just like say based on Siegman criteria, a non-traditional mark, so to be registered, because its mark should be clearly visible, eligible, intelligible, all those components they have created in the criteria. So, marks should be clearly visible. So, just like for that reason we have graphical representation, so that people can definitely distinguish one mark from the others marks, So, non-traditional mark just in mail, how will you represent in a graphical form? There lies the channel. So, non-traditional mark like mail till date not registered in India, but that can be registered considering the descriptiveness of the mark or based on the chemical formula of the mark. Just like say what chemical elements or chemical formula you are using. Similarly, sound can be registered as a trademark based on the description of the sound along with the notation you are using for the sound. Okay. Till date India only we have registered sound as a trademark, but no smell as a trademark has been registered. So, non-traditional trademarks include sound, smell, all sorts of things. So, this is also an important intellectual contribution of incorporation of non-traditional trademark. That traditional trademark including the packaging, or that way, what way the goods you are packing. Just like nowadays a Flipkart and others, if you came into your hostel security persons, you will have from the packaging itself you will understood from which source the goods are coming. So, color that we call trade dress or packaging. Trade dress, what is the trade dress? Trade dress as a trademark. These are the issues with reference to the non-traditional ways of representing goods or non-traditional trademarks. So, you understood now why trademark, what is the importance of the trademark, what are the different types of mark, where the marks having intellectual contribution based on logo, label, where the intellectual contribution involved with reference to invented word, selection of the trademarks, just like as a engineering or technical graduate and or MBA graduate, if you create or a good trademark for your organization, then definitely that is a the value additions for that organization, that will ultimately will be considered a huge brand for that company. Okay. So, that way how you create a brand for the company, then actually that actually you can create, just like consider who has got that idea to apply the word Apple for that Apple computers. So, see that what is the brand value of Apple nowadays. Similarly, the Google, you consider the brand value of Google, what is the consider the Microsoft, all sorts of things. So, I am ending it here with the basics of the trademark. We will subsequently discuss the other attributes.